I'm your co-host Reverb, and he's your host Christopher Blue.
Hello, and welcome to Good Night, Christopher Blue. I'm Christopher Blue, and we have a wonderful show for you tonight. But first, I'd like to thank you guys for subscribing. I'm not asking for anything else. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help. Just click that red button. Make it gray. Make it black. I don't think it's red anymore. I think it's black. Either way, subscribe. When we come back, Ken Tucker.
Yeah, she left through him in the alley.
Oh, sweet Reverb, you're back from patrol.
Yeah.
Are you wearing Good Night with Christopher Blue merch?
It's a guilty pleasure, okay?
Welcome back. Tonight's guest performs blues country music, and he's known internationally. Take it out of studio, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. I am here with Ken Tucker. Hello, Ken.
Hey, brother, what's happening?
Not too much, just here interviewing you.
Well, that's really cool. I'm enjoying it so far.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Ken, for those who might know, you are an internationally known musician.
Some would say that.
Yeah.
Well, I get most of my fans. Well, see, my record label's in Austria, and their main audience is like Europe and Asia and Africa and Australia. So I get most of my fan mails like from Poland and Germany and Scandinavia and Japan and Cyprus and where else? I got some from France, England, just Latvia, Lithuania, all that stuff.
Wow.
And I got some from the Middle East. I got one big fan in the Middle East. I actually got two fans in the Middle East to keep in touch with. They look, yeah, but one of them wants me to teach them how to play blues. Like, man, if we speak the same language, it'd be easier.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So, as you just mentioned, you are a blues musician.
Yeah.
What was it that drew you to blues music versus all the other genres out there?
Well, it comes when I was growing up. See, I was fascinated with my dad's record collection. In fact, we had one of those old stereos. He had a console stereo. I know you don't remember these from the 70s. That were the size of a tank, and had a record player and radio and all that stuff. But he had all these records like Buddy Holly and Elvis and Little Richard and Glenn Campbell and Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash, and even had stuff like the Guess Who. And I was just like fascinated by listening to these albums, hearing all these instruments working as one cohesive unit, And I started listening to how the song, and I just wondered, how do they do this? My thought was, how do they do this? And I started listening to songwriting, trying to figure out how they write songs. I started writing songs when I was early, but they're horrible. They're awful, but they were the foundation for what I'm doing now. But I started playing guitar when I was like 12 or 13. And my friend Brian Crasher gave me one of his non-functioning electric Japanese dime store guitars, but it had strings, so I could play it. I didn't have to have electricity at that time. It wouldn't work. I plugged it in, all I get was hum. But I could hear the strings when I played them. And so I started slowly graduating to better and better guitars. But one day, what got me into blues, because my brother had all this record collection. He was a record collecting guy. We shared a bedroom, my older brother and I. And he was always buying, and we all had older friends. All his friends were like 3 or 4 years older than him, which made them 5 or 6 years older than me. And they'd get together up in the bedroom, and then, of course, they didn't care if they were ready to drink beer and smoke weed and listen to music. And, he got me into the Beatles and Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton was when it really made me want to become a guitar player. But he had stuff like the stuff no one else listened to around me, like Little Feat, Dave Mason. Of course, he was a Grateful Dead fan. Neil Young, Bob Dylan, just all that kind of stuff. But one day, because I'm the middle child, I was a middle child, and I kind of kept to myself for the most part. I spent all my weekends playing guitar in my bedroom. I didn't do sports. I didn't do partying. I didn't do all that. I stayed in my bedroom and just wanted to become a great guitar player. So I just spent my time. I played till my fingertips were hanging. Skills hanging on my finger, and there's blood on my strings, skin hanging on my fingertips. But one day, like I said, I was a middle child. My dad felt like, maybe I should show him some attention that I don't know if he's getting or not. So he came up to me just by ourselves. He said, look, man, My dad said, "Look here, and I was like 13 at the time because it was 1979, so I was 14. I was 14 at the time. My dad came up to me and said, I grew up in Sullivan, Indiana. I live in Terre Haute now. This was a big town for us when I was growing up. So my dad came up to me and said, there's a demolition derby or a movie in Terre Haute, and I'll let you choose where you want to go. But let's do it just me and you." I said, "Well, I hate demolition derby, so let's go see Blues Brothers." Because he says the Blues Brothers movie. And I was a Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi fan, so I wanted to see the movie.
Yeah.
So Dad goes, "Yeah, let's do it." Because thank God I hate demolition derbies too. Let's do the movie. So we went and we sat down in the movie. We were like right in front of the screen. Back, just, where it's the ideal spot, because we're like one of 15 people in the theater, so we could pretty much pick where we sat. So we sat just where you could see the whole screen really clearly, and you didn't have to do this. You could sit and look at it like a television screen. But I remember the first thing that really got me was the very beginning of the movie when Elwood picked up Joliet Jake from Joliet prison, and they're going down the road, and before they went down the road, you hear the music start. You hear boom, dun, boom, and then you hear this something like that. And She Called to Katie. I said, "This is the coolest song I've ever heard." I was like, I've never heard anything like this before. And as the movie progressed, we had Aretha Franklin singing, "You Better Think." You had James Brown as Reverend Cleophas James doing his thing. You had Ray Charles, doing a song about all the dances. It wasn't Land of a Thousand Dances, but it's talking about the different dances. He's playing in his playing piano there in his music shop. And you had Cab Calloway singing Minnie the Moocher. Had John Lee Hooker doing Boom, Boom, Boom. It's like, the more I heard, the more I was like, this is incredible. I've never heard this before. And as we left, in my mind, I said, I want to be a blues guitar player. Didn't tell my dad. He might say, "Son, that's all right, but come on. You want to be a blues musician for a living?" I don't think that's a good idea. But I thought that all my life, but people telling me, it's a good hobby, but you're never going to do anything with it because you're from this nothing town. Nobody cares. You can be a great guitar player, but you're never going to get out of this area. And I said, "Well, why not? Who's to say that I won't?" That was my mentality the whole time. It's like, you're not living my life, and you don't know. And I said, some of the greatest musicians in the world came from nowhere towns.
Mars.
But Mars came from Terre Haute. Yeah, so I just got to the mentality like, and that's why I tell my students, don't let anyone dictate to you what your future will be. Yeah. If you want to do this, if you want to do music, then put everything you have into doing music.
Absolutely.
And then, as I said, anymore, I didn't have the luxury of the internet back then. I had to just fight for everything. Yeah. And it was all phone calls and sending letters and waiting for responses. But now you can just get instant response, But nowadays you can be your own record company. You don't need a record company really. I mean, if you develop a big enough audience, you could be a rock star without even signing that first contract. Mm-hmm. But it just comes down to dedication and discipline. If you fly at something that you want to do, but you don't have discipline or dedication, either one of them alone, you'll fall on your face. Right. It's a combination of both. You got to be dedicated. You can't let the first rejection. In fact, I tell my students, if you get in the music business, be sure to get ready. Get prepared to hear the word no a lot, because no is 98% of what you get. Mm-hmm. But I used to take no as like, well, that's one less no I have to deal with.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, I'm getting one no closer to a yes. And I just put it in my mind that I was bullied my whole life. Kids told me you're too fat, too ugly, and too stupid to do anything, and not are going to be worth anything. I had one kid in school tell me and I was a fat kid in school. I wasn't popular. I wasn't like anything. I was a nerd. I was very much a wallflower. And one kid, I remember on the day before summer break, one kid came up behind me out of the blue, and sat up behind me on the desk and said, "Why don't you just make the world a better place and go kill yourself?"
Wow.
That's the kind of crap I dealt with in school. So I had people at school telling me I'm fat, stupid, and ugly, and I will never do anything worth anything. No one's ever going to care for me. Literally was told that.
Mm-hmm.
And at home, my parents, who loved me, were saying, "Look, we love that you play music, but you need something else to rely on."
Right.
And my brother, of course, he got mad and threw my guitar across the bedroom a few times because I was playing with the albums. And understandably, he's upset he wanted to hear the album. Here I am tinking around trying to play with it. He got grabbed my guitar, "Stop it!" and threw it across the room. I lost you.
Yeah, the screen.
Oh, there you are.
But
But anyway, when I got out of college, when I went to college, I decided, look, I'm done with being a doormat. I'm done with people trying to tell me how to live my life. I'm going to do what I want to do, and that's I went to school to be an art teacher because Dad said if you go to school to be an art teacher, I'll pay for it. If you don't, I won't.
Mm.
So, but when I went to art education school to satisfy my father, but I spent 90% of my time in the music lounge with the music kids, playing music with them. My best friend from college, Roger Franklin, who's now a fantastic producer, and he runs the video audio production school at Vincent's University. I met him there, and we played together on and off for the last 30 some years, 35, and he's still my best friend in music. I mean, him and Dean Adams is my old bass player, but I met a lot of my music friends and music cohorts at college when I was hanging out in the music lounge and just jamming with them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it comes down to if you're going to succeed in anything, music or anything, doesn't matter what it is. The two key components are discipline, dedication.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So you have a book being written about you, a biography. Can you tell me a little bit about how that came about, how you got that started, why you got that started?
This reporter from the Sullivan Daily Times, my hometown paper, the editor, Jillian Kelk, she wanted him to do a story on me for a long time. And so he did it, and we became very good buddies. His name is Isaac Compton, and he's an author and a reporter. And so and he came here every like 6 or 7 times for like hours on end, just recording me. And he said, that sounds like to be good, really good. Your story should be written. It sounds like it'd be a really good biography. I said, well, why don't you do it? He's still but it's coming slow because he's got 2 jobs besides reporting.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just writes on it when he can. And he comes up, he's going to visit me because he wanted to go. He's doing another story on me for the paper about my new album that's almost finished. Wow. It's got a few more tracks to do, and I'll be done recording it then. But he wanted to be in the studio while I did it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's coming along. And the documentary, my music producer took over doing that because the guy who was originally producing it got a full-time job, and so didn't have time. So he just said, "Hey man, here's all the stuff I got. Your producer wants to do it. It's fine with me." So my producer's taking over the autobiography. Dyslexia kicking in here, brother. Documentary. My producer, John Russell's taking over the documentary.
How similar do you feel like the biography and the documentary are going to be to each other?
Pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about anything different. It's all the same. It's not 2 different lives. It's going to talk about how, mainly what I want to come from this is not, look how important I am, but it's mainly like, look what I came from. And what just pure raw dedication and unwillingness to bend will do. Not letting people who want to pull you down, not letting them pull you down. And now that I've had some measure of success, a lot of people who were telling me I was too fat and too stupid and too ugly, all of a sudden they want to be my friends.
Yeah.
Especially after I got on Dan Aykroyd's radio show. I was featured on his show. Next thing you know, all these people that didn't give 2 craps about me before, oh man, that's awesome, you're on there. Hey, let's hang out, or let's, we got to get together. No, I'm busy.
So you were on Dan Aykroyd's radio show. That kind of is a full circle moment for you.
Yeah, Dad said the same thing. Yeah. He said, it's so cool that the Blues Brothers inspired you to start this, and then Dan Aykroyd later found your music worthy of featuring on his show. He said, isn't that the way the universe works, the way God works?
Yeah.
The way God blesses us.
That's amazing.
And he allowed, and I believe in divine providence. I believe that God will bless you if you put your faith and your time, and you just put your faith into him. He'll bless you.
Yeah. You're about to perform an original song for us.
Yep.
Can you tell us kind of the story behind the song, and what
I can tell
inspired
you a
this
story
song?
about it. Should I do the love song for you, babe? I'll do a song. Okay, I wrote the song about my wife. My wife said, "Don't care." I just want to make sure she didn't care. She didn't care. But I've been married. I'll be married 35 years in June to this beautiful woman here, and it's sometime back. I don't know, maybe 20 some years ago. We're coming back from a date. I think we were in Evansville, Indiana, or in Vincent or something. And out of the blue, these words came popping in my head. They were like a love song. And oh man, this is about my wife. I should write about my wife. And so I told her later, as we're going down the road, I said, "Sweetie, I wrote a love song for you. I want a fourth line, but I can't come up with it. I got three of them. I need a fourth line. You might be able to help me with an idea." She goes, "Well, what's the song called?" So it's called One Stop Man. And she goes, "Well, gas stations are called one stops. So write a line about a gas station." I said, "I will, and I'll give you credit for it." And so I came up with a line. I told it to her. She goes, "God, please don't give me credit for that." But I do anyway. So she wrote the fourth line. But this song's called One Stop Man. And it's about my wife. If you want some love, baby, look at me. I got everything you need, 'cause I'm the one-stop man. Yes, I'm the one-stop man. Don't shop at nowhere else, and baby, I'm your one-stop man. If you want romance, baby, look my way. I got games we both can play, 'cause I'm the one-stop man. Baby, I'm the one-stop man. Don't shop at nowhere else, baby, I'm the one-stop man. You don't need no coffee, don't need no tea. All you need is a little old me, 'cause I'm your one-stop man, babe. I'm a one-stop man. Look what I'm looking at. Don't go shopping nowhere else. Baby, I'm a one-stop man. Yeah, pull up to my pump, 'cause I can fill your tank. All you gotta do is give my hose a yank, 'cause I'm your one-stop man. Baby, I'm your one-stop man. Don't go shopping nowhere else. Baby, I'm the one-stop man. Well, I'm the one-stop man. I'm the one-stop man. I'm the one-stop man. I'm the one-stop man. Don't go shopping nowhere else. Baby, I'm the one-stop man.
Woo! Ken Tucker, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry for my voice. I've been fighting allergies, but I did the best I could.
No, that was great. That was great. Before we wrap this up, Ken, where can people go to follow your story, to see what you're up to?
Well, they can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Ken Tucker Blues. And they can go to my website, the record label website at www.countzerorecords.com. I also endorse a guitar company, and you can find them at www.moon-guitars.com. I have my own signature line of guitars now.
Oh.
So it's all, I'm getting the very first one I endorse. It's my signature line. And they can also find me at the slide company I endorse, and I also have a signature slide with them. That's www.rockymountainslides.com.
All right. We'll make sure all those links are in the description so people can just click them there.
Right on, brother. Right on.
Ken, thank you so much for coming on the show once again.
Thank you, man. Anytime.
To sign off the show, I send it back to me in the studio.
Thanks, Chris. Well, that's our show. Thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And don't forget to ring that bell so you can notify whenever we upload new content. But mostly subscribing. Until next time, good night, my sweet baby angels. I'll see you in the future.